Kellie, how are we doing?
I am doing good. I'm doing about this good. How are you?
We are going to be drinking today because I feel like we're both on like the struggle bus. Is that how you're feeling on your end too?
Always. I feel like we're always saying that, but we're called difficult podcasters for a very real reason.
And we've actually never drank on the show yet. This is recapping season 2, episode 6 called Candles. Sad
36
Julie.
candles.
Yeah, sad Julie. We have an emotionally unstable Billy, which never happens because he's ice. Kate Pearson, you've got a distressed Matthew, you've got Lola saying, "Does anyone fucking work here?" Um, yeah,
Mhm.
we're just gonna drink. How's your day? How you feeling? What's in your heart right now?
Well, it's a nice, cool fall day in Texas right now. It's really it's kind of gray and cold. So I'm like really nice and cozy today. I got my fall lipstick on. It's like a very fall day. So I'm feeling good. I'm just, things always pop up. It rained yesterday, and with Texas and their power grid bullshit, like they can't handle the rain. So there's always some issues going on. But it's dry today, just a little chilly. So all is well.
Do you excel in the fall? Like, is that a good time for you?
I do like the fall. I do.
You
I'm
like to
all
fall.
about like,
She
huh?
likes the fall and she likes to fall.
Yes, both. Um, but I do. I like it. I like the cool, cozy weather. I don't like it when it's too cold, but I like
Yeah.
it when it's nice and cool, and I could start to pull my jackets out and my boots and sweaters and all that stuff. Sweater weather,
Yeah.
love it.
I have a different microphone than I'm usually using, so I hope that the combination of me being drunk at this moment and the new mic doesn't like mess up. So let's see how we do. Season 2, episode 6, Difficult People is the show on Hulu. Billy just on the of course there was a bunch of people, but the Out 100, which was cool, and his movie Bros is going to be out in August, is what it's sounding like. Obviously, it may move, but excited about all that, but excited about our Billy and Julie land, the fuckery that it is, and what excited you most about this episode? I loved the friendship between them two.
The soulmates, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I Be quiet. The soulmates are talking.
Yeah, Arthur, I don't
Um,
want to talk to you. I've got Billy. What do I need you for?
no, I really enjoyed the episode, and the it really resonated with me, Marilyn and Julie's part, because I feel like I sometimes can have a kind of similar relationship with my mom. So I really understood her and kind of feeling a little bit neglected and not, you know, feeling like, mom only comes around to kind of like do things for herself, even if that's not entirely the case. It kind of comes across like that sometimes.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've had similar situations where I've kind of felt a little bit like that growing up. And I just really kind of like felt a camaraderie with her for this episode. And, as you get older, birthdays, there's a certain kind of like weird portion of birthdays in your mid 30s, I think, when they're just not as fun. And then when you finally embrace your age, it's like, fuck it, let's party.
I always feel like I get mad at myself if I don't celebrate certain things like that. I'm not saying I do it
Mhm.
every time, but if there's a birthday that happens and I don't celebrate, I get mad. For instance, like Halloween, if there's a Halloween that goes on and I act like I'm too big for the situation, and then I end up not regret, but there's like a little bit of FOMO. It's like, why did I act that way? So I think the same thing applies with birthdays. I too, like you, am usually like, oh God. Well, not saying that you said this, but there'll be times where I'm like, let me just get it over with. And if I ever do that, I get so mad at myself. I'm like, dude, you get one time out of the year to really be selfish and celebrate yourself. Why don't you do that? So,
Right.
but I thought that it played really nicely on the episode because Julie just kind of, she basically said, it never goes well. So what we're going to
Mhm.
do is we're going to we're going to take in a terrible show and we're going to do it the day before my birthday. So everything could kind of match up. So I thought that was cool. A bond is always good. An annual, thing that they could do together is always a good thing. I do always feel like your birthday should be how you want it to be. So if everyone else is like, oh, it should be big, but you're like, no, I just want to do karaoke, as corny as that is,
Yeah.
you got to let the people do what they want to do, which I think is kind of important.
Definitely. I mean, I had birthday traditions are always the best. for a while when I was out in LA, every year on my birthday, I would go to Disneyland. That was always kind of like my favorite fun thing to do because
that was by your choice.
That was my choice. Like, and it's funny because
I could never
hate people and children and theme, like all of that, crowds and like all that. Totally not my thing. But for whatever reason, the happiest place on earth was exactly where I wanted to be on my birthday. I did this for years, and
sarcastically,
my roommate would go with me. I would drag him with me, and we would make Irish coffees in the morning and be there when the park opened, get drunk, because you can get drunk at California Adventure. And then we'd go ride the rides and kind of BS. And it was the best thing ever. And that's how I chose to spend my birthday, because I felt like I was adulting so hard every other day that I just wanted to kind of do something silly and just kind of, do something a little childish with alcohol for the day.
So you kind of had like a tailgating experience for like the people who go to see sporting events. You're like, all right, we're going to be in the parking lot. We're going to get loaded. And then you're going to sort of make a sarcasm of the situation. I mean, I guess it's fun. If you went with a best friend or a roommate or something, I do feel like that has a little extra like cutesiness to it. Damn, I would have never pegged you as a Disneyland chick.
I know. I'm telling you, all of the things that make Disneyland are all things I normally do not like. But for whatever reason, I'm all about it. And my birthday's in December, so it's all decorated for Christmas. And I love Disneyland at Christmas. If you've never seen it, you should definitely go and check it out, because the Haunted Mansion ride, they reinvent with all of the Nightmare Before Christmas characters and stuff. And it's so cute. Like, I love it. I love all the trees and like all the stuff. I love Christmas. So
because your birthday's near, so that's good.
Yes.
Now listen, I like the way Billy got the gift for Julie. It was a basically, I guess you could have any celebrity or a scene from a music video in this case. From the Shiny Happy People music video, Billy was able to put himself on Michael Stipe, and then Kate Pearson was able to be Julie as a gift. My question to you, or I could answer it too, if you were to get that type of gift, who would you want your face to go
on their body? Oh my gosh, there's so many great female artists. So
you want to know mine, or do you have yours?
Tell me. No, tell me.
Okay, look at this face, take it in, drink it all in, drink in your wine. This beautiful mug will go on Janet Jackson's body from the If music video. Remember when she
I like it.
Yeah, I'd love to have an animated version if they could do that for me too. But yeah, this mug, and then it would be her hair and her body, and then it'd be my smile.
I like it.
What about you? What say you?
I'm just like envisioning, like I'm doing some like Shakira, some Hips Don't Lie. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, good.
I think I'm kind of feeling that right now. That's my vibe today.
Take it away, Candles, season 2, episode 6, Difficult People. Great show. As we go on, we're closer to the end, so we are going to have to do other things. So if you are enjoying what we're doing, via look at, oh my God, the alcohol.
Ooh,
I said via when I meant to say via.
You are a via too.
And I think you said I like to fall when you meant to say I like the fall. We are going to be fucked up by the end. Okay, so if you like what we're doing via Apple Podcasts or through the YouTube, put in the comments what you want to see us recap later on, because we're gonna have to move into like a different series or movies or a little bit of both. So do what you do, people.
Yes, please.
Our one fan, do all that shit. Okay, so let's get started with this episode. I love the way they were starting in a situation where she got to talk shit about the sports. She hated the ball play, the playing.
Well, I loved watching Arthur try to play basketball. Like, watching that basketball game was hilariously painful.
Yeah.
And I just think it was so awesome that, he was able to score the winning point and his team won. And my favorite quote from Julie is, "From the waist down, I'm a freaking lake," as she's clapping for it.
That was in reference to Billy saying, "Does it do anything for you?" Why did I think of you immediately? This is how our friendship, which has been since 2003, we have had, times where we've been real close and then haven't talked in a while. But like, I've known you so well. As soon as I heard that, I go, "That's such a fucking Kellie thing." Like, yeah, you've been there.
Yes. And it definitely turns me on when he wins.
It was NPR versus PBS.
PBS, yeah.
It was talentless, but it was a great opening scene, I think, for the show. Yeah.
Yeah, and like his persona throughout the episode, holding on to that win was amazing. When he's in the living room watching sports, and then his man cave is like a sheet that he throws over himself while he's drinking his new brewski. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I love Arthur's character so much. It's just the best. And that huge trophy that he's carrying down the street.
And also the bonding that he got to do with the people he works with.
Yes.
That's one of the things we've seen in other episodes too, where like when he does well and the other guys like support him, it's something that he doesn't seek for validation, but he sure does enjoy. And when he gets it, you feel like he really turns it on. Yeah. He sees Julie and she's like, what is this? If I wanted to date a bro, I would have been with Doug Ellen at the Entourage party. You know what I mean? Like I would have given him a blowjob or something like that. Like she's like, that's not what I want from you. And he's like, yeah, whatever, woman. Yeah, lady, go cook me some food. Totally un-Arthur like, which is.
I know. What does he say? Chickens be clucking. Am I right?
Am I right? Yeah. So an athletic Arthur to me was so good throughout the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was really fun to see him kind of like take on that persona for the episode. I loved it. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then you got Billy going through all the guys in his phone that are all by dating apps, right? So he's got like, Daniil from Tinder, this guy from Grindr, somebody from another one. I can't remember the name of the app, but he's got all these app guys and he's got the anonymous sex guys. So there's no real in between. It's the guys that really know him, that he checks all day with, that are on the app that he doesn't really intend to meet. And then there's the random people that he just hooks up with. So it's like, do you have that sort of divide in your phone too, Ronnie? What's going on in there?
I'm ready to tell it all on the Patreon. No, I think that does happen. You make those errors sometimes because of comfort. It's like the people you're actually frolicking with. Yes, you won't really know. It's almost like a compartmentalized. Yeah, that's what that's for. And then you could end up in the not oversharing, but over chatting and staying so connected. I will say that I've had that run, but this day and age, I know a lot of people are very like, they cast a wide net. They want to talk to people all day. That is one thing at this age I don't like doing. I'm more
trying
like
to get to know you.
Wait, you are? Oh,
no, I'm not saying you. Like, you're not trying to have those deep, dark conversations over text message.
Well, no, not only that, and we've talked about this even unrelated to this topic, but how I would tell you, or you would tell me rather, you would say, hey, Ronnie, like I like it when people chat about this podcast, and I like to engage.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm always like, fuck them, Kelly, just fuck them. Like I feel like there's so much busyness, so I don't like extra busyness. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't really like a pen pal. That's not what I'm going for.
Gotcha.
And unfortunately, if you don't, or if you cast a wide net and you constantly chat with people, there's going to be a time where it's going to be overwhelming. Where you're like, damn, I got like 7 people saying, good morning, daddy. And it's like, it couldn't feel good to a degree, but like I guess it ends quickly. You know what I mean? It's just like, come on, nothing's going to happen. Now, I will say, can I contrast? Having somebody in a different area code. Now that's something I will entertain. Having like, let's say I'm like, hey, Kelly, I'm on the phone. Hey, Kelly, I'm going to visit you. Like, I'm going to be in Texas for the week. I would like to have, Austin Augustine, or let's say I'm going to the Bay Area, Brian from the Bay Area. Like I'm with the shit when it comes to that, but not meaningless. Just waking up every morning to be like, hey, Big Papa, like the fuck?
Right.
I'm not 20. Yeah. I don't need that validation. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, what say you? What's going on over there? Is the river running dry? Like, what's happening down there?
My river is running very dry at the moment. But
I like how you asked me examples of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go. Look at the wine.
No. I was just saying, like, I've just been too consumed with other stuff. Like, this whole thing has just kind of been on the back burner. But no, in the days when I was a little bit more focused on it, I never had much luck with apps. And, I would loosely try them every now and then I felt like I was always getting like the same type of guys that were reaching out, and I just was like, not about it. So it just kind of, I never really had too many of that. And the guys that would reach out, it was always like, I don't know, like just that kind of like weird, like, hello, how are you? And then it would like, they would like kind of like fish for like dirty talk. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, no, I don't know. That's
well,
not
now that I can do. Now that I can do. That I can trade that in. I can go for that.
But it's like, we didn't really go on a date, and it just was like the conversation wasn't really there. And then I was one that I would just like give up really quick. Like if I didn't see like an instant like return after a couple of days that felt like I was, getting some like quality matches or something, I was kind of like, I'm over it.
Well, I
my
think
time
that's
was very valuable. So if I was gonna,
Yep.
I had very little free time. So it's like if I was gonna, waste it on someone, then I wanted it to be like of substance. But I have some total like horror stories too.
I've got some horror stories. I've got some horror stories too. Oh,
I know you have
horror.
Some horror. I said horror.
Well, here's my thing with you. I think you perform maybe even better in regular life. Sometimes I don't feel like we can get all of Kellie. I mean, obviously, I am not the one to be swiping for Kellie. Let's be clear about that. But, she's not in my pond. But I just feel like you are the type of person I could assume when you are swiping for men. I just don't imagine you being like, I imagine you being great online, like on paper, but I feel like you're even better in person. So maybe that's a hindrance. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I always hate to keep bringing up like, oh, she was a dynamic, like PR chick, you did big shit. But like reality is you probably were great at these jobs and ran shit in a lot of occasions and were such a confident woman because you were really good in real life. You're an IRL chick. You're not you're maybe not really amused by the phone. Would you be inclined and okay with being flown out? That's a question.
Yes. I am the actual location has never really been a big deal because I traveled a lot for work anyway. And I did date somebody that was I dated a couple people actually like through the course of my 20 years in LA. We're on the East Coast and I traveled out there a lot. So I don't know, it's kind of one of those things you get so wrapped up in work, and I'm sure a lot of people can kind of relate to that it's like you blink and it's like 6 months later and it doesn't feel like it. Yeah. So it's like you don't feel, it's like I maybe went on a date with this person like 6 months ago, and then 6 months later, oh hey, I'm coming out to New York, I want to hang out, and it feels like it was just like last week. So I've done like that a few times too, which I'm not opposed to. Like I don't mind doing that. And then there's, when it kind of like fizzles or something, like, then when you travel out to the city, you start posting all this like stuff that you're like in the city just to kind of tease and like let people know that you're in the city. Like if they want to reach out without actually reaching out to them to be like, hey, I'm in town.
Yes.
You just start like putting like, what did you call it? Like a breadcrumber? Like
yeah, Kellie, the breadcrumber. You originated the art form. So another thing about to the question, and it was a great question. This is why Billy is all of us when we watch this show. It's so relatable because it is like compartmentalizing. Like, is he into intimate, connection, or is he into anonymous, fun? But he is all of us in the regards of it's so confusing how to do the online dating and if you're doing it right. Currently, I'm on one app, but the real strategy of it all is fuck the apps altogether. It's really how you maneuver your Instagram. And Kellie, back in the day, the queen that she is, I remember she would come. This picture to me is so funny. We'll put it up on our YouTube. We will, obviously if you're audibly listening, you'll just have to hear the story. Kellie, one time, this is how I know she was breadcrumbing potentially somebody or maybe more than one. I don't know. So she comes.
It was one person.
I know I always make it like you're like a champion or whatever, like she was succeeding in her 20s. But I say it with love because I know Kellie is, my girl. So Kellie, this is how I know you were full of shit and you were breadcrumbing to a degree because you came over once and you like posted a variety of pictures. And at this time, stories weren't big. So now stories make sense. People like post something and it goes away in 24 hours. This is like where you committed to the post. She had like a string of posts where it's like, oh yeah, this was like Hot Girl Summer before Hot Girl Summer, and we're just everywhere. But then the one that really got me is Kellie posts a picture and she goes, it's something like, it's a picture of my flat ass. And I'm cooking, but I'm cooking the most rickety hot dogs with the most rickety hot dog buns on a rickety, in my rickety apartment, right? And Kellie has the nerve to post that and be like, I'm getting fed or something like that. Like I'm eating with my friends and, love, live life, some type of shit like that. And I'm like, in my head, when you posted that, I was like, oh, Kellie, just like, she's my friend. She likes me, we're good friends. We've known each other for some time. But the reality is that was not for me, Kellie. That was to let said persons know that you were in town and you were
son.
I don't care. Whatever it was. But you see what I'm saying? It was so funny. You were like an original breadcrumber. You're like, my friends love me. They're cooking me dinner. I'm like, cooking you dinner? Look at that shitty dinner that I was cooking you.
That's how much I appreciated it, Ronnie.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, there's a strategy to everything.
You're right. I guess this is why, again, Billy is all of us with this because you don't really know how to do it. But I got to give him credit because he did go for it. This is by way of Julie. Yeah.
He did. And I think that when you're a little insecure with yourself or your situation, or you don't know if you're really ready to put yourself fully out there, you kind of hide behind different things. And for this scenario, he was kind of hiding behind like what they called Sharon Stoning. In an interview, she had said, if you put it on your face, whatever emotion you want to portray, the emotion will follow. And so he went in with the mindset that he's going to kind of like fake his way through this. And it ended up actually opening him up to things he actually felt. And it kind of made him kind of like a crybaby a little bit. And it ended up backfiring on him. But I think he got so overwhelmed by actually letting himself be a little bit open. And then he didn't know how to maneuver it because it just went so far from one side to the other so quickly that he didn't know what to do. And he's not used to being so fully embraced.
Well, Danilo was such an interesting situation because he was the one overlap. He was the one where he was going to be in town from Atlanta, but they've already communicated so much. So they knew each other's games, and they knew like sort of what one would do. They knew each other on an intimate level. So they end up, frolicking and things go well, but it does sort of set up a situation where it's like, we'll come to dinner. But that wasn't even just the funny part. The funny part is that Denise, that's the brother. That's Denise's brother.
What a small world. Like, what are the chances that he turns out to be Denise's brother, which is hilarious.
Did you see that coming at all? Like, it's so funny because
I honestly did not.
When you watch the show, it says he goes, "Oh, it's such a nice apartment." Like he mentions it more than one time, and I'm like, "Oh, this was totally like,
Yeah, he's like, it's just, your sister, must be so successful, and like whatever." And then he finally notices the pictures on the mantle, and it's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, and it works.
He's freaking out not only because this is a new thing, but also because Denise already hates him so much. Like, he's like, well, what do I do? If I go this way, it's going to be this. If I go that way, it could be this. Like, he's so confused about how, like, what the next step should be.
I like the complicated way he goes, am I shitting where I eat? Am I fucking where I'm shitting? But see, go ahead.
No, I like what does she say? Like dealer's choice. Like
dealer's
just pick
choice.
one.
This is why this show always works so well, because everyone wants to say, oh, these characters are so bad, Julie Kessler and Billy Epstein. But it's like they have each other's back in such a good way. It's only Julie who does push to him, the Sharon Stone idea and the idea of like, well, what's the best scenario? Give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? So I give him a lot of credit also for like listening to her and to try the dinner. The complicated part about the dinner, though, is that we don't really know it. We're kind of confused by it, but we find out later because Denise does tell Matthew. Yeah, I think Denise tells Matthew that, no, I'm only inviting him to dinner. That way my aunts could kind of grill him and chase him away. Otherwise, if I chase him away, my brother is going to be mad at me. So Denise, in my head, for the first time in this series, I'm like, oh, Denise is finally showing Billy some love. Not the case at all.
No, not the case at all.
It is a scam of sorts, but it kind of changes because the Sharon Stone idea works. Do you think that works? It has to work. I feel like
it's like manifesting, right? So it's like vision boards and the whole manifestation. Like you put something, like if you're in a bad mood and you decide, let's just put a smile on my face, then the emotion should follow, right?
I could say maybe because, I sometimes wonder like how trivial our little fucking show is. And I'm like, the other day I was getting ready to rewatch the episode because me and Kellie were going to record and I was in the worst mood. Like I said, we're drinking today because of the struggle bus, right? This week has been a struggle bus, but watching the show, like put a smile on my face. So it is weird how like the emotion, or you say manifesting, could just change everything. I do remember in radio years ago, I'd be in terrible moods and it'd be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'd have to go onto the microphone.
Yeah.
And I'd be damn near like in the worst tension that you would have in your like, you're just cringy, right? 3, 2, 1. Hey, Rick Dees, what's happening?
Right. Then your mood has you have to be on, so it has to change. And I think, I did that a lot too when I was a publicist. And if there was something horrible that was, going on behind the scenes, when you come out, like everything's great, everything's perfect, like, woo, this is all fucking fantastic, when it's like shit on fire in the back. You know what I mean? Like you have to kind of do that. So I feel like in that sense, if you want to be a certain way, it's all mind over matter, right? So it's like if you want to say, okay, today I'm going to be happy, then you go and you choose. It's all that like choose happiness, choose life, and all that bullshit.
Which
right?
I think that is bullshit. That one is bullshit. But if you change up your, like if you're, when you were working your jobs and you're a publicist and you're having behind the scenes shit that's bad, but the moment you go in public and like rock it out, there is this inherent thing that when you're done with whatever your task was, that you're gonna still be sort of uplifted. And I think I've never had anything bad with our show, but I've had times where I like maybe just didn't even have the time to do our show, or maybe another podcast, let's say. But then I'll be so mad and then I'll get it done. And when it's over, I'm like, oh my God, it's so fun. Like I can't actually forget that I'm mad. You know what I can't forget right now? I think I'm on my way to being drunk or like buzzy. But I could tell you from being buzzy, there's two things I could always remember. One is Patti LuPone will always hate Bernadette Peters. And Sharon Stone is in Mensa.
That's right. I know. And I don't know if you can see, but like lights are flickering in here. So I don't know what's going on in this room, but there's some definite fun energy happening.
All right. We're going to have to wrap it up soon.
It looks like I've got a strobe light going on. I don't know, but it's just funny.
all those
kind of how it always goes, right? There's always something.
All those memories of Kellie's dating life. It's like,
I know, it's like causing a stir in the room. All the energy is coming to fruition. But dating has always been such a crazy experience, both good and bad.
So my last question on that, if you go on the dating apps or Instagram, you casting a wide net or not? This is a question that some friends of mine had recently or last year or whatever. And I had half of the friends were like, absolutely cast a wide net. And I thought I was correct. And I said, I don't want to cast a wide net. Like, I don't want to. You know what I mean? What do you do?
I don't do it anymore. I just don't. Like I said, I never had good luck with it, but I just don't at all. So now I'm just relying on IRL in real life.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you are.
Trying to see kind of what happens and all of that. But with everything going on with just, my life and career changes and all that, it's kind of one of those things. Like I had a friend back in the day that was so determined to get married. She went on a date, even sometimes 2 in a day, every single day of the week. She was on every single dating app. She went on, like, that's what her goal. She was going to find a husband, get married. And that was her thing. I've never been that type of person.
Yeah.
I just never have.
Well, as I was saying, you're good in real life. And I think, I can't speak for you, but I think when you do find somebody you want to hang out with, from some of the experiences I've learned, from you, I think you always want an additive to your life. That's where Kellie's different. Not that it's bad the other way either. Everyone has their prerogative to do whatever, but you tend to put somebody who, is an additive to your life, not necessarily something that, fulfills you. Like there's a void and then you meet somebody and all of a sudden they fulfill you and you're happy. Kellie does. And I feel like, honestly, I kind of feel like I operate that way too, which is sometimes why I'm rigid. Like sometimes I'm kind of like a little mean about it just because I'm like, unless
it's a value add, unless you're a value add, what's the point?
Or unless he's a billionaire. If the money,
that's a value add.
If the money's long, we could talk about it. But if it's like you don't have long money and we're both struggling, there's no point. You know what
I mean, I don't know. And I've kind of like gone through the spectrum when it comes to, you know, money wise with different guys, and it's all the same shit. Like shit is shit. So it's just like at the end of the day, it comes down to where you are in life and what you're both looking for, essentially. So
well, connections are tough, relationships are tough, not just relationships, but bonds between mother and daughter. So you have basically Julie's kind of like, Mom, what I liked about this scene, Marilyn had the nerve to say, I should be celebrating because I was the one who had you for 2 days or whatever, which I've always sort of thought. I say that to my mother a lot. I'm like, it's funny, we'll be celebrating like my little sister's birthday or something like that. And I'm like, isn't that my mom's celebration? Did you do all the work? you know, as a birthday, it's usually about you, but it really should not be about you. It should be about Marilyn Kessler.
You know, true. It is definitely a hard thing to birth a person, I'm assuming. So that does deserve a celebration. Absolutely. I agree on that point. But it's funny that she, in what Julie says, has used the birthday to celebrate herself, and Julie has always felt a little bit slighted. Yeah. And it's kind of one of those things where I love when she says, you know, nothing that you're saying to me is an apology. Like, you left me at a restaurant. You always take me where you want to go. And then, you know, she took her to the club where everybody knows her and, all this, but then they get a free spa day out of it. So how's that really a bad thing?
Yeah, but I like that. This is a Julie where we got to give her a nod for using her words. I like that. She did communicate. You are right about that. But here's where things just magically happen. Sometimes you could try so hard. You talked about your relationship with your mother, mine with mine, whatever the case. But sometimes like luck just goes the right way. So as they're having this discussion and kind of trying to figure it out, they run into, was it a spa owner or something like that?
Yes.
And he was like one of the premier, he had one of the premier facilities in Tribeca. So they're kind of still like at odds, but what does it take? A little champers. Which,
I mean, drunk bonding is the best bonding. I mean,
when I was young,
that right now.
Yeah. When I was young, I used to drink a lot, and I don't drink at all very much. And it is nice though. And I'm not saying I don't drink because I feel like, drinking will create a happiness that's not really there. I just kind of ran its course, but it is nice though when you are struggling with something and you could throw a little liquor back and it becomes really fun. And it created a bond for them, whether that was true or not. I mean, for goodness sakes, they were lighting poop
at the wrong person.
At the wrong person's house. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Best scenes though between them two is yelling at those Tish girls from NYU and saying, "Oh, excuse me."
Nobody likes you.
And honestly, nobody likes somebody who could sing at karaoke. That's got karaoke itself, which I used to love when I was younger. Now I'm kind of like, oh, come get.
Well, karaoke in LA is never fun because it's not real karaoke. It's just like people trying to get discovered. So it's not like you hear like horrible singers. Everybody's phenomenal. So then, like I can't sing worth shit. So I will never do karaoke like ever because it's like not fun. It's like American Idol at every karaoke bar in LA.
Well, that's why if that were to happen, I'd be in the back saying, "You're not good enough for The Voice." Meaning you're going to mess up the whole energy of this whole place where me and my terrible tone can't go up there because everyone would be like, "Oh, he's terrible." Well, that's what it's called. Karaoke, dummy. So you're going to offset everything. So I got to yell in the background, "But you're not good enough for Idol. You'll never get a record deal, you son of a bitch." No. But they were good together. I love the way they made fun of the Tish girls. And we get a little bit of an ongoing Kate Pearson B-52s moment too. Like them actually singing, which was really, really fun. I just love them together.
She got the apology she always wanted, and Marilyn got the compliment she always wanted. So they were able to kind of let the guards down from each other and be honest about their feelings for one another. And that's what I really appreciated from those moments.
Yeah.
Was that it was, that they really got to open up to each other in the way that each of them wanted to. And sometimes it just takes that. You got to set aside, the way, everything that you kind of harbor to be able to kind of let the truth come out. And that's always the hardest thing, right? Is really to kind of put yourself out there. And I feel like that's what this whole episode was about, was really kind of like putting everything out.
Yeah, you may be right. But I like a guard. I like the wall. Nice.
I mean, I'm at a point in my life now where there's no point, like guards of like, what for? Like,
oh, okay.
I was pretty uncensored before, but now it's like worse.
You're starting to develop when you get to the elderly and you let it all fly out.
Not like I'm like the elderly people that just like says whatever.
Kellie's like, I've lived. I've lived. Like whatever I'm feeling, you're gonna get it.
Like if people thought I was a bitch before, whoo!
Get ready. What else do we see in the episode? We see there was Matthew is in distress because by the way of Billy getting all this extra attention because Denise is maneuvering, I like to see Matthew sort of in distress because he always gets the best of everything. You know, he always
does. Yes.
Denise's favorite. They go on shopping sprees. So he was getting wrecked.
Yes, he was. He was the new delivery guy and could not deliver an order to save his life. He was getting robbed by kids, like attacked by dogs, like all kinds of stuff. It was hilarious.
I think on a sensitive moment, because they do end up at Benihana's, which was the scene of the crime to some degree, which is where Julie feels like she was left as a child. So as they're making their way there, everyone's pretty much there. Matthew is not invited, but he will show up. But you have athletic Arthur, Danilo's there, Marilyn, who's already but he was there too. All of them, they were all of Billy's, were there. Am I drunk? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, his name isn't it Daniil from Tinder? I don't know. You guys will have to see which one of us is right.
No, you're Kellie. You've always been right. Anyways, there's people. Everyone's there. Everyone's there. So anyways, as they're there, Julie, is she getting drunk? Like she's already a little bit like, oh, she throws up for her 36th birthday.
Yeah, they were continuing their drunk bonding spree. So they were having like Buddhas, Buddhatinis or whatever Marilyn called them. And Julie ends up, getting a little nauseous. So she runs to the bathroom. And while she's in the bathroom, Marilyn runs into the woman that they've lit poop on fire in front of her house. So she takes off. And then Matthew comes in and like ruins everything about Billy's situation.
Well, the Sharon stoning, yeah.
The Sharon stoning, he outs him with that. And then we find out that Daniil is like not about this whole like over emotional side of Billy. He's just not into it. So they break up and take off. And then Arthur says he's the most athletic at the table. So at Benihana, they invite you to go and learn how to, work the grill a little bit. And he ends up throwing food in his eye, burning his arm, like falling over on the grill. It's like a whole scene. So when Julie finally comes out of the bathroom, everyone's gone and she's re-traumatized all over again. And the only redeeming thing is her encounter in the bathroom.
I think I like the encounter though.
Oh yeah, it was great.
I liked it because it's these moments where Julie usually gets more angry. And granted, this situation is going to make her angry. Her having this similar moment to when she was a kid at Benihana's. But in the restroom, she's using her words. And it's like, this is what I keep saying. Like, she looks usually like she's the problem child, of this series. Oh, Julie again. But when she uses her words, I think it's great. Like her saying, Kate Pearson, I saw a lot of what you were doing in who I wanted to be. I don't know why that connected to me, Julie. Like, again, we make fun of Julie. Your name is Kellie. What is my name? Hi, I'm Danilo. What am I drinking?
What's today? Thursday. No, but you're right. The fact that she actually opens up and expresses that I didn't know who I was or where I was going or what I wanted to aspire to be. And I saw you, appreciated what you were doing, and it gave me something to look up to. And I feel like that was and her reception of it was really nice and endearing, although she was just trying to get some peace in the bathroom. But but still, like, the message and all of that was there. So to see her in this episode be so honest about so many things, I felt was really great. Especially considering it was her 36th birthday.
And she already threw up in the bathroom.
It's
just like this thing. Like, I feel like, there's, you just don't realize how many people when they are sort of trying to find themselves, from their, youth and growing up. And what it, like I said, it's priceless. It's priceless on what somebody can do for, I don't want to say like representation per se, but that's exactly sort of what it is. Like, you were living a full life. It made me, aspire to do that. I just really feel like, I don't know. I just was such a softie when it came to that scene. I was like, oh my God, I remember certain people, in my youth where I would be like, oh my gosh, like that's, or like not even people, but like, I always talk about like, I was a kid who grew up in SoCal, but like, I always wanted to be in New York City. Like it just, these things that you just like see at a young age and you just have to, I don't know, be a part of.
Absolutely. I mean, I went through a lot of that, in the little small town I grew up in and stuff before moving to Austin, but it's still one of those things you look at all these people, like they're so amazing for putting themselves out there, doing the things that they do, and it inspires you to do the same. And it's great to be able to tell the person that did inspire you, thank you for being you, because it inspired me to be me.
Two things with that. The key is to communicate it, to actually say it. Don't be too
Mm-hmm.
cool for the room. Granted, she was drunk, so she just kind of reacted. But
that always helps.
The alcoholic lubrication definitely will bring out the best sometimes. But also, I feel like it's great because when somebody does something, you never know the inspiration for the next generation. If Kate Pearson didn't allow that bit of motivation for Julie Kessler in this situation, you wouldn't have Julie Kessler. And I think the same thing, honestly, like not to go breaking the fourth wall type deal, but like I think sometimes so much of the content out there is so similar. Like if I see another fucking Will Smith video, like I'm just about over with it, And sometimes I get down and out because even within our creative process, we do something a little specific. I like what we do, but sometimes it's not as trendy or algorithmic friendly. And there are times, I don't want to sound too like drunky McGee over here, but sometimes I say, I love that Julie created a show like this because I don't feel, oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do it.
I know, but I'm saying like, because Julie, Buzzy McGee, I feel by watching the show, I'll invoice you. You'll invoice me therapy. No, but you see what I'm saying? I'm being honest, Kelly. Because she creates a show like this, it allows sometimes on my down and out days to be like, oh, look it, I'm not struggling with this, that, and the other. There's other people just like this, who are basically walking around all day and saying, fuck those cunts, like you feel.
Absolutely. Which is why I genuinely love film and television so much, because I love being able to see different characters in different situations that go through very similar things, whether it's the struggle that I'm going through at the moment, or it's the happiness that I want to be going through later, or, whatever. It's all these different emotions and all these different things. And I love everything about that process. And I think it's great, especially if you have the chance to be able to look at somebody and say, thank you for all that you're doing. You may not think it's a big deal, but it was a big deal to me.
And we may have to redo this episode because that was a shit show I just gave you. But my point, though,
but it wasn't though. See, that's the raw and that's real. And that's the point. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's you actually like put out exactly what we're talking about, that it makes you feel the feels, like you get all the feels about whatever it is, because it's so great to be able to look at something and say, you know what, I relate to that. That's me. And it makes you feel less alone. And that's what's so great. And that was Julie's thing. And she got to be able to vocalize that in the bathroom. Then all with shit, when she walked out, everybody was gone. She was
I guess it doesn't matter how you communicate. As even for me, I'm like,
at the end of the day, at the theme of this is people will still let you down.
Yeah. Say what you're going to say, no matter if you're drunk, sweaty, or bloated, just say what you're going to say and they're going to let you down. But see, that was the great ending though, Kelly. the bond that they have. I know we've talked about it before. And
even recreating the 16 candles birthday cake scene. I mean, in itself, I mean, you better do that for me one day, because that will really solidify that we're as good of friends as we always say we are.
Yes. Well, it's been more than a decade, so I definitely feel we have earned that. Actually.
But no, that was amazing. And then them having like the theme song playing in the background, like it was great.
Yeah. And for these gifts that Kellie's talking about that will not happen on this birthday because the struggle is still real, I think what people need to do is support our sponsor, which is ViridianRow.com. Okay, so ViridianRow.com. They've got a host of artsy stuff. I mean, a lot of the quote t-shirts are very good. I've worn a couple on this show. Kellie was worn them several times, but it's just a really cool, I don't know, just get into it. Like at Viridian Row, go shop. And if you're supporting the small business, you're supporting our show. So then maybe in 2 years I could get Kellie a cake for $12.99. Because
we would be sitting on top of a table. I want the like legit 16 candles deal.
Yeah, and it's so
and
good.
You gotta drive up in the Jake Ryan Porsche. It's not real.
Okay. All right. Well, the sponsor better, get it together. Yeah, you're right. It did end it so good in that regard. I guess that's all I have to say about it. I just loved it. Had a lot of zingers, and yes, I definitely thought of you when she said, "Oh, from the waist down, I'm drenched." I thought of you, and I was curious to know your dating app scenario.
If you want to hear more intimate details about the dating mishaps and great haps and all of that stuff, you definitely got to check out Ronnie's Patreon, because I'm sure we'll do one of those episodes one of these days, and it will be definitely worth it.
I can't sell it better than you just did right there.
We'll be back. Some stories for y'all.
The 20s, we were a little more agile than we are now. Anyway, wrapping up the show, we'll be back with another episode. Again, if you like what's going on, put it in the comments for Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, all of the things, or YouTube, and start suggesting shows that you want us to recap later. Obviously, the more support, the more intrigue, we can do more. Kellie's had some really good ideas for movies. So maybe we could do movie specials in the meantime, between going from one series to the next. I don't know. I don't know. Do we go 90s Melrose Place? I always think 90s, but also Kellie loves Yellowstone. I've never watched, but maybe.
Ooh, it's about to come back. I'm so excited.
Is it that damn good?
Yes. Oh my, I did not believe the hype. I really didn't. And then I just decided to binge it one day, and OMG, I just couldn't stop. Seriously.
Well, we'll figure it all out. Cheers to Hattie LaPone. Cheers to Bernadette Peters.
And cheers to Sharon Stone.
Cheers to Sharon Stone and to us.